And we are back. Hopefully all our technical issues have been resolved, and we are fortunate enough to be able to jump into a pretty fresh series over here. Not quite the one we had in mind, but still.
Yes. For those wondering, originally we were going to cast Firefly versus Silky. And I'm honestly a little bit lamenting the fact that we won't be able to be casting that. Feels bad, man. Just the Chinese client decided to die on us for a moment there, and we didn't want to hold up the players, so they did begin. Instead, we are jumping into a different series entirely. As you can see on the screen, we are diving into a TvP.
This is where I reveal that this was my intention all along.
You're like, man, I wanted to get my XY in before he got knocked out. Let's go. Oh boy.
Oh boy, indeed.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, regardless, thankfully, we do have a series to begin with. It is a fresh series, and the winner of this series goes up against the winner of Silky and Firefly anyway, so, you know, we're still ending up in the same place.
Yeah, pretty much. We'll end up in the same... Yes, we are in the same path.
Just a different...
As always, we're just taking a...
Yeah, same qualifying match, just a different route there. So again, we apologize for the delays to begin with. Again, we really do apologize about that. But finally, you can hear the beeps. We are diving into game number 1.
Thankfully, as we load into 2000's atmosphere LE, we're in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, starting all the way in the bottom left-hand quarter. We, of course, have the red Protoss player, a man known by many names here. He even has a new one today.
Yeah. You
know him here as Vinny, going to be representing Team Starlight Twinkled Assault. He is also known as... I'm actually not sure what you have in the fanfare here, so I'm going to take a guess. Joliwaloves.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of 2000 Atmospheres LE, we have one of the oldest pro gamers in the world, not just China. We have the Blue Terran representing Invictus Gaming. It is XY.
See?
And yeah, here we go. We're diving into our first series, and again, it's great to see some of these returning players. As you were saying, I think this is the first time we've seen Joliwaloves use this ID specifically.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's I'm going through the recollection of my memory, and I'm trying to remember if this was something that we've seen Joliwaloves use before, but I don't quite recall, so I'm gonna say it is a fresh ID coming up from him, and I can't wait to see what new one he has in DreamHack Atlanta.
Oh yeah, he will change them any chance he gets. Shaking my head, mate, shaking my head. Oh god. But yeah, regardless, we do have a bit of a TvP before us. What's important to bear in mind for everyone watching is that we are, of course, in the Chinese qualifiers, and the Chinese players, they typically do have their own meta.
They really do. It's kind of evolved independently in a way. And you recall that particularly I'm remembering particularly the Protoss players, the vast majority of them have adapted their styles based on the fact that ping to other servers were awful. So we would often see a bit of a slightly slower style of Protoss that's reliant a bit less on spellcasters. But so maybe that might be something that we are gonna have to look out for here for Joliwaloves, otherwise known as Oz, otherwise known as Vinny.
And this is what I'm talking about, mate, because as we're getting into this, like XY, we have a pretty standard opener. It's a 1-1-1, but he's going for a proxy, but it's also like in an odd location as well.
This is just like building the barracks just outside your base. The Protoss player is gonna panic. He's gonna,
Well, yeah, we'll see, because one, this is pretty far. It's just far away from your opponent's base, so why proxy to begin with? Unless you're going to do something crazy. Is there enough room here for an add-on?
There is. There's just enough room for an add-on since it is on the top right-hand side. Come on, throw it down, throw it down, throw it down.
Yeah, like if we're proxying this, and if we're getting a tech lab, may as well just go all the way and just go for a fusion core, right? Oh, never mind. Interesting.
So you know what? He's gonna meet up with the. He's
Yeah.
gonna meet the Hellions with the medevac here. You know what this means? It means that the medevac won't be taking a standard route across the map. It means that it won't be
True.
scouted by Joliwaloves. I figured it out late.
What do you mean? I mean, if it went from the main base, it would probably get there faster because the Hellions have to run all the way to the top left first. It looks like the medevac is on the way to meet up with the Hellions here at the watchtower. Thankfully, XY maintains control of the watchtower, so Vinny or Jolywell won't be able to see this.
Yeah, and you know what? Because he's going to the watchtower, it means he won't get scouted.
But he could have.
It makes sense.
I guess so. I guess so. Meanwhile, the Adept does get into the main base. Ooh, we'll get a kill here on one of these SCVs. Oh.
Yeah, delaying the NG Bay for quite some time, so +1 is going to be a little bit delayed. He's actually floating the starport back home, and in the end, it didn't matter whether or not he proxied this medevac because there was an observer ready to catch that.
Mate, Jolly was too good for that, mate. He didn't see it coming. He didn't need to see it coming. He was ready, prepared in his main base. And with that, now Blink has finished up. We have 4 gates, mate. We have 4 gates. We have Blink. We have a War Prism. We are going across the map.
Slowly but surely. Of course, the War Prism opens up so many possibilities here for the Protoss player. He could just continue to warp in outside of XY's base and just try to contain him as long as possible. Or, with that high ground vision, he could just blink straight into the main.
Yeah, he definitely could. Meanwhile, we do have a little bit of a drop here outside. Oh my god, outside the natural base of Jolywell. But with this blink, it looks like they will be cleaned up. And in total, 3 probes have gone down.
Not too bad. I mean, it's probably not worth it for the cost of 3 Hellions, but at least it is something that will slow down the economy of Joliwaloves by a little bit. Targets do get into position, but yeah, only 4 of them, so this is Joliwaloves really just trying to see what he can get done. Decides not a whole lot. I'm just going to warp in and try to contain you.
Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned because the rest of the army does reroute here outside the main base. There is a tank in the main, but the tank is not covering the natural.
And that is definitely worrisome. The rest of the Marines are trying to come on down.
Yeah, but mate, there's no stim. Like, vanilla Marines are having a hard time against all these Blink Stalkers.
So many ACVs are starting to go down, and Vinny just blinks away. Doesn't want to take any unnecessary risks. He's going to continue to warp in more and more and more. Charges on the way as well if he needs to throw down a couple of zealots. And things are starting to get where they need to be for XY, but it's still going to be rough for him.
Yeah, in the end, after all said and done, 14 SCVs went down in that engagement, mate. That's a lot of SCVs. You can see now XY down in that worker count. But he is stabilizing. You know, there's a world where maybe these Widowmine shots go off on something like the War Prism, but at the same time, Joliwa, he gets back into the main.
He's trying to get even more damage done. Not going to kill as many SCVs. Ooh. Fortunate targeting there.
Exactly, but at least XY does shoot this way for the time being. Meanwhile, third base of Joliwa is getting fully saturated. It's getting up and running. There's no gas being taken here, but again, we don't need them. We are going to charge, you know, much more of a mineral sink there. And yeah, for the time being, Joliwa doing a great job at just containing XY.
Yeah, despite Stim being finished for quite some time now, despite combat shields and the medevacs being out here, XY just has not felt comfortable enough to move out and go for that 2-base push that you typically see Terran players do at this timing.
Yeah, exactly. He may have lost a little bit too much, and that prompted him to back off, but now he's moving out across map. This is immediately spotted, by the way, by the observer, so Joliwa is fully aware of where the army is. He's trying to come back home with the rest of his stalkers. At the same time, War Prism goes into the main. Oh! The Widow Mines!
But there are 2 Widow Mines! 1 is not enough, but 2 is gonna do it.
Hey, you love to see it. Meanwhile, that is an immortal skin that I have not seen in a long time. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, that is the, I think that was the 2nd or 3rd war chest.
Yeah, they are long boys, mate. My god.
Really
Meanwhile, Jolly was just trying to engage with the army, but the Widowmine shots went off. Every single zealot got cleaned up, and at the same time, we have a drop into the main.
XR really starting to reciprocate the damage dealt earlier by Vinny, but Joliwaloves is going to be able to clean that up thanks to that recall, and he should be able to reposition without too much trouble. Again, he's playing a little bit like Pez that we saw earlier today, focusing more on a swarm toss style in the early to mid game before transitioning.
Yeah, I mean, there's no robotics bay. There is literally 0 splash damage right now. He's relying only on Immortals, Zealots, and Blink Stalkers. Meanwhile, we have a massive drop being set up here to go into the main base at the same time. A little drop here. Okay, just being here to secure that third. But I did worry because XY was able to even things up when it comes to the workers, which is not the best thing for a Protoss.
Yeah, definitely not when you're going for Storm like this. High Templar are extremely expensive units. He can only warp in one, and he had to warp in a bunch of Zealots, so means he just doesn't have the gas.
Yeah, that's something that we have to bear in mind, is that right now there aren't that many High Templar. They're actually all in the Warp Prism right now, so they are kept safe and hidden, but at the same time, in comes that drop!
It's a bit of a doom drop coming down, and this can really mess with the base. No recall is available for Jaedong Oz, as he did utilize it earlier. A lot of tech can go down here, as well as a whole bunch of probes. Meanwhile, the third base, uber vulnerable.
Exactly. Joliwa, he comes, he brings everything back into the main base. Oh my god! No, the Warrior goes down again, alongside 3 High Templar!
There is only one, and Storm has just about finished up, but that one High Templar is so vulnerable. GG is called, and XY takes game number 1.
GG, well played. XY maybe struggle. I should say Joliwa looking pretty decent in the early to mid game, but once we really got into the swing of things, once we got enough medevacs for all those mass drops, Joliwa was pulled apart. He was really kind of lacking that vision there. I guess he ended up moving his observer that was just outside the main base. Like, he just didn't really have any foresight of that coming.
Yeah, definitely lacking in a lot of the map vision going on there, but XY style of just completely multi-pronging and picking his opponent apart definitely worked wonders, and that's definitely one of a pretty good way of countering this early swarm toss style. I'm gonna have to pencil that into my idea notepad.
Yeah, that was very impressive. Very impressive by XY. Again, there's a reason why he's such, again, a veteran player here. He's still a force to be reckoned with. He is not on that retiree team. Nah, mate, he's still an IG.
Nah. Despite being older than I think half of the members of that team.
Yeah. I think all the members of the team, mate. Yeah, he's older than Jim. Like, what are you on about?
He is older than Jim, isn't he? Yeah, for the longest time it was XY and Sirkwa, I think, who were, the first gen of Chinese StarCraft 2 pros. But unfortunately for Sirkwa, he did have to get married and retire. XY, though, still staying on.
I miss him. I miss him so much, Sirkwa. Or Jigua, as he can also be known as. But yeah, I miss him dearly. But at least we have some other Zerg players to replace him. We may get to see him later on. Silky is out here in the bracket as well. Still mid-series.
Yeah, not too many updates on the bracket just yet. Except for one, Jesha has taken out Jim 2-0 and will be advancing to face either Rewhite or Wanted in a qualifying match. Not over for Jim yet, though. He is going to be waiting in the lower bracket for an opponent.
Mate, I am never going to be able to cast Jim. Like, it's been a couple of seasons where we've seen Jim in the as I think you may be lobby host, but it's been a couple of seasons where we've seen Jim in these seasons of DreamHack, and I've seen him like in the closed qualifiers, sometimes the open qualifiers, and I'm like, now we'll be able to cast him later, but we never do. we never get to cast him.
I said it myself, I have no idea I was the lobby host.
That feels bad, man. One day we'll get you.
Yeah, one day we'll. Yeah. Maybe today,
May that's some soul copium right there, mate.
We just need to contrive a journey in today's bracket. As we continue our series of best of 3 right now on Berlingrad LE, where of course in the top left-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top left-hand corner, we have a red Protoss player coming out from the land of China. He has been known by many names: Jaedong Oz, Joliwaloves, Sat Protoss, but he is known today as the player representing Starlight Twinkle, as well as Sats apparently, Vinny.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Oh, I almost said Curious Minds.
Yeah.
I don't realize. Berlingrad
Lost in
ALE.
translation.
We have the blue Terran player himself representing Invictus Gaming. It is XY.
I think it was Thorn or somebody, one of our viewers was telling us the other day that there is a way to kind of translate the names from Mandarin to English using Liquipedia, but I have not been able to figure that out.
Using Liquipedia?
I may have also read the instructions wrong.
I think you may have read, fun fact, on Liquipedia, they now support different language names for maps. And you can actually have a look at, like, the different names of the maps on Liquipedia.
Yeah, but that doesn't help us at all.
Exactly, that's why I'm like, what are you on about?
Huh. Well, we'll figure it out. Eventually we'll learn Mandarin.
Well, yeah, through osmosis, we'll get it down. It's all good. Don't worry about it.
Just need to, hang around with, actually I don't think Ares speaks Mandarin.
Yeah, meanwhile, we do see a massive reaction here to try and deny this bunker, and it looks like he will get it, but that was a lot of lost mining time.
Yeah, honestly, this is well worth it for XY. He cancels it right at the end, so he doesn't really lose much of any minerals. It was only a single SCV building, so he doesn't lose lost mining time. Of course, he would have liked to be able to park his Reaper inside it, but, already he's getting value out of the non-existent bunker.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he never even had to finish it. I mean, I don't really know any downsides there for XY, so a great start for him to begin with. He even has his Reaper across the map, so he can always dip in and confirm the opener of Joliwa.
Which, as we see, is going to be another Twilight Council opening, but XY has not quite committed into the main base yet. He really hates that pylon. He really wants to just beat it up.
I mean, he did deal some hull damage to it, a little bit.
Yo, he dealt 6 damage to it. That's more than his Reaper thought it would deal.
Yeah, that he did. Meanwhile, he goes straight into the main base. There we go, finally confirming the scout, confirming that there is in fact a Twilight Council. It's not researching, not yet, but he may be able to dip back in later.
Yeah, that would definitely be ideal for all XY nodes right now.
Yeah.
It could be a DT build. I don't know why I said another DT build. That may be a sign of a premonition of things to come.
Or it may just be, just Yaku things.
Nah.
Oh god. But yeah, I thought it was a little bit odd that he was waiting till the Reaper left before starting Blink. I don't know if that was intentional or if he was just a little bit too busy preoccupied microing to try and hunt that Reaper down. But because of that, the Blink is a little bit late, and of course XY comes in and confirms, okay, it is researching.
Yeah, I like to think it was the former of what you said, where he just did want to keep XY guessing a little, but that you do reach a certain point where it's just not worth it anymore. You may as well just get your upgrade and then keep your build nice and tight. The Adept comes in, gets a very nice scout, and is even able to pick off a SCV. Another one?
Oh.
No, not quite.
Oh my god, so close. Meanwhile, the Adept is locked inside. He can't leave. But Marines will eventually be able to clean all of this up. There we go, the Adept goes down. Not before getting a full scout off and being aware that a bit of a drop may be on the way. A single Widowmine drop?
Well...
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
I was like, what?
Yeah, as that medevac was maneuvering around, I was thinking, oh, maybe he's doing the thing where he's going to load up with 1 Widowmine and 6 Marines. But no, it is going to be a double medevac drop, or a double Widowmine drop from this medevac. Kind of Piglet-esque, in a way.
Yeah, I mean, pretty standard, is what I would say.
I'm trying to draw an allusion to our earlier cast. So
yeah. I don't know if I would...
This is the standard.
It's not going to be like, oh my god, he's going Reaper first. Just like Piglet. Oh my god, he's cracked, mate.
He's like, he uses a standard skin.
He's crazy.
Just like Cure.
Oh my god. Meanwhile, the drop is currently waiting outside the natural base. I mean, what's important is that by now, a Widowmine drop would have hit, so he's gonna hit it at a really awkward timing, hoping that Joliwa forgets about it, because it's like, hey, it's been so long, it's not gonna happen, right?
Yeah, it kind of is counterintuitive to using this Widowmine drop as a scout, but it's like you said, XY is probably looking to get more damage done than otherwise. So coming in after Vinny thinks that it's safe, after Joliwaloves thinks, okay, if you haven't committed to the drop yet, you're probably not going to. That is a really good way of making sure that he's distracted a little bit. Massive gateway explosion, by the way.
Oh yeah, the gateway explosion is here. What's important is that Joliwa did end up going for a much faster robotics bay. I say faster, last game I don't think he got it, period. So he will be relying a lot more on Colossus here, as they are already in production.
Yeah, Thermal Lance on the way as well. Again, if he's thinking that XY is going for an early 2-base push, which he absolutely is, Colossus with shield batteries is the key to defending. My eyes are glued to that mini-map right now, Light, but that medevac has not gone in.
Yeah, I've been keeping an eye on it as well. At the same time, would you have a Raven sneaking into that main base is going to draw away the attention of all of these stalkers.
And you know what? Now's the time.
He's going in.
Potentially, he's going in.
No reaction.
Joliwaloves completely distracted. There is no reaction, and 11 probes will go down. An additional 2 as well in the main base. That is 13 total, dude. That is massive.
Exactly, we were talking about it. This is why, in the end, it was all worth it. He was hoping to wait, hope that his opponent forgets about the potential of a Widowmine drop, distracts him, and then dives on in, gets almost a mineral line.
Yeah, practically a mineral line, honestly. It's just 3 probes missing from an entire mineral line. But an argument can be made that this is a little bit late. You know, Joliwaloves already has 2 Colossus out with Thermal Lance, so the follow-up push isn't going to be as strong as it could be, but it's still very, very strong.
Yeah, it definitely is. Meanwhile, the first tank, no, it's getting low, and it looks like the tank will get taken out at the same time. Widowmines go back in. They were saved from earlier.
Yep. They get 8 more probes, and now it's starting to really dip into Joliwaloves' economy.
Yeah, I mean, mate, that means he got, what, 22 probes in total? 23, sorry, looking at the unit slots tab. That's a lot of probes.
Yeah, a whole bunch of them.
And now, after quite a long time, XY finally going to be landing his 3rd.
Yeah, catching back up when it comes to the economy. I guess that's something that we have neglected. We kind of glossed over a little bit. It's that this is definitely damage that XY needed to get done. Otherwise, he would have been he would have been playing catch up for the rest of this entire game. Both players kind of playing chicken a little bit. They don't want to overextend to and make the first mistake.
Yeah,
it's the right call.
Exactly, you know, Joliwa who's testing the waters, but the army was already pre-set up. We had the concave ready and waiting to go, sorry. So Joliwa just backs off and takes another base.
May as well. He's once again containing XY pretty dang well, but what worries me, Light, is that XY is starting to get his medevac count up and running. He's getting his ghosts out, and we saw just how effective his drops were in game number 1.
Oh yeah, they were absolutely insane. Meanwhile, we do have a war prison trying to sneak into the main base, but there is a spotter deeper here, and it looks like XY will see it. Oh, he wants it!
Yeah, and about trying to move in. The Vikings should be able to intercept it. I say, yep. Not quite able to intercept it if, if Joliwaloves retreats with it.
There we go. Vikings already just focusing down that war prism. They will get it!
And this completely kills the reinforcement potential of Joliwaloves. Jaedong Oz gets an Archon for free. He debates whether or not to push in to an entrenched position, and thankfully he decides otherwise.
Yeah, he was trying. He was hopefully waiting for like a war prism into the main base, draw away the army, and then going, oh my god, the EMP's connected with every single Colossus!
Not just the Colossus, the sentries as well, so no force fields to really cut up the army in half, and XY is using this momentum to his advantage. He takes out 2 of the Colossus. Battery overcharge is really keeping one of them alive though, and does he want to find this choke point? Apparently he does.
Yeah, he does end up taking down the Colossus. Disruptor goes down without a single Nova going off, and now there are only charge lots remaining. Essentially nothing here, and XY is just going to keep going.
He lands the Vikings, and he does have to be a little bit careful, or apparently not. GG is called, and XY takes that series 2-0. Oh, I had Google Lens open. Very nice and well played here by XY, showing that, you know, he may be older, but that doesn't mean he's any worse for wear. He's an actual veteran, unlike the camels.
That's something that very few people are going to understand, but you're not wrong.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. GG, well played. Congratulations to XY as he moves on. And he has an opponent ready and waiting.
Yep. Already here. He is, of course, going to be moving on to play in another TvP, this time against Firefly.
Wow. I'm a little bit shocked. Also jealous that we didn't get to cast Silky versus Firefly, but apparently Firefly came out on top.